Kinski in the lead role and Paul Schrader directing, back in 1981.
That's right, Zach. Cat people.
About a woman who turns into a leopard when she falls in love, and then eats the person she loves.
I thought it was romantic. Romance right there, Zach.
Nastasio's perfect for that role. Casting her made that movie a success. Malcolm McDowell as her brother is also a good call. He's like a panther even without any of that special Hollywood makeup.
Now the name Malcolm McDowell rings another bell. You know the movie I'm talking about, right, Zach?
Don't tell me you're thinking about Clockwork Orange. Malcolm McDowell, come on, it's pretty obvious. Blue Thunder. Came out in 1983. It was directed by John Badham. Malcolm plays the bad guy in that one. He just totally outshines the hero, Roy Scheider. At least I think so. I have to say, not many people agree with me about Blue Thunder.
Zach, if you disagree with any of my opinions about movies, just come out and speak your mind, okay? Just speak your mind.
Well, okay then, York. I will speak my mind. But not about movies. Or at least not yet. But about why I love your game so much. Yeah, so, Deadly Premonition's kind of a weird one. I mentioned in my 1K subscriber video that Deadly Premonition was near and dear to my heart, and you don't just say that in a video and just leave it as is, especially if it's for a game like Deadly Premonition, which looks like a PlayStation 2 game and plays like a PlayStation 1 game, but for some reason the game is a masterpiece to a lot of people, myself included. So I've been uploading a few of the Deadly Premonition videos, even before that 1K subscriber video, so it kind of gives me a little bit of a giggle knowing that people are just jumping into my channel and just stumbling upon these weird videos. I mean, if you have a Nintendo Switch, you probably already heard of Deadly Premonition, or at least, you know, just the infamous stories behind it, with just the way it looks, the way it plays, and just how weird the characters are. And now that they announced the sequel, it's like more likely that it's now on your radar. If you haven't heard about it before, you definitely heard about it now because it was on their Nintendo Direct. So the original plan was to let the game speak for itself and have like no commentary whatsoever, but if you were to ask any Deadly Premonition fan what they like about the game, you're guaranteed to get like a different answer every time, so you might as well hear it from me personally what I liked about the game. And a big part of why I like it so much actually has to do with the side missions in the game. Like, the main story itself is pretty fantastic, but the side missions, they just kind of give you like this huge cast of characters that are just so wacky, but you get involved in their stories and you just want to see like the conclusion to all of them. I mean, not all of them are like home runs, but for the most part they really kind of incentivize you to go digging around and actually do detective work. There are certain aspects to these side missions that appear in the main plot, but they don't draw attention to it. Now, if you've played the side mission that includes certain characters, it gives you more insight to, you know, what their motivations are. And that's for like the super serious stuff. Me personally, I also love the fact that they're just so wacky, and this upcoming one with the General is one of the better ones because not only do I find his side mission super interesting, but he also unlocks one of the best rewards in the game, and it's shouldn't be a surprise that if he's going to be selling cars in his garage, you can probably guess what the best car in the game is. I mean, you can probably do a little bit of detective work, but it's a car that you've seen before. And if you don't do these side missions, you'll never see it again. Alright, if you haven't figured it out, it's York's car. His car is like the best car in the game. And once you unlock it, you'll find out why they didn't ever want you to unlock the car. Because the car goes so fast that you'll actually start levitating off the ground, and the frame rate just dies. It's like Final Fantasy. It's like Final Fantasy. I can't even say it. Final Fantasy 15's car, the flying one. The game's not meant for this, but here you go anyway. And the reason why I praised, even to this day, I praise Deadly Premonition side missions, because I played Deadly Premonition way before I played games like Yakuza or Nier Automata that have exceptional side missions, especially Yakuza 0 and Nier Automata. I played Yakuza 0 before Nier Automata, and that one blew my mind, and then I played Nier, and then I started crying. So that gives you some perspective to how much I care about these side missions. And pretty much same thing applies. They give you more character moments. Yakuza especially, because you assume you're going to be playing as this, big badass, super serious kind of guy, but they still take the time to help all these people who they stumble upon. It's like, you don't have to do this. Technically, you're like a criminal. You're supposed to only you're supposed to only care for nobody but yourself. But there was this video, from this channel called Writing on Games, and he mentioned how the perfect way to summarize Kiryu's character in the Yakuza games is he's a thug with a heart of gold. It's like, it shouldn't match, but it does. Like, if you get in his way, or if you mess with the people that he cares about, he will beat you within an inch of your life. But if you were to ask him for help on some sort of plight, he will drop everything that he's doing and he will help you. It is very much a superhero trait, and it's just really jarring to see it in this big Yakuza man. But it's super charming nonetheless.
Now then, young fella, how do you feel about your current vehicle?
My vehicle? It's a piece of crap, but I'm not here to talk about that.
Then how about a little treasure hunt? Listen up, young man. My junkyard is actually a mountain of treasure. All kinds of treasure lies in those mountains of junk. The problem is, there's so many, I've lost track of where everything is. You've caught on already. I can see it in your eyes. I need you to head out in the yard and find certain things for me. If you help me out, I'll customize your car a little.
What are you talking about?
Didn't I tell you to shut up and listen to your superiors? Now will you do it or not?
I don't see any reason to refuse.
Well said. First, I'll need some low gear parts. With that, I'll be able to boost the engine of your car. You'll find one around E5. Go! Don't just stand there, get going!
And I guess you can kind of carry that over to both Nier Automata and Deadly Premonition. It's like, you're a character who's on this super serious mission where lives are on the line, and yet you still take the time to help all these people out because sympathy. The bonus points and the unlockable items is nice, that's true, but for the most part, you're kind of here to experience a story, and Deadly Premonition and Nier Automata are pretty fucking weird ones, so it keeps you invested. Like, it's not like the by the numbers plot of go to point A, kill people, and then bring something back. A lot of it is just all these wacky stuff, especially with Nier Automata. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of missions where it's just go to location, kill something, bring something back. Almost like Grand Theft Auto Online's missions for the longest time, before Heist came out. So, back to Deadly Premonition. You get, like, this weird insight with these characters, and, with the way that the game is structured, you know for a fact that there's going to be a lot of characters. They're just going to be dropping off the face of the map because of certain things that happen to them and others. And it is sad. It's like, it kind of reminds me of Danganronpa in a lot of ways, and I played Deadly Premonition before Danganronpa, so you can probably guess why I have such a huge love for Deadly Premonition. It's like, it introduced me to this world of weird Japanese games that have a lot of heart and soul into it. It's like, it's not that other games don't have that kind of heart and soul, but for some reason a lot of the games I love are from Japanese companies that just have like these weird stories that just have some kind of like sympathy or empathy. Like, no matter how grim or dark things get, especially with Danganronpa and Nier Automata and Yakuza and Premonition, I can't even like separate them because they just kind of have that darkness, that kind of edginess, I guess you can say, like, without getting too super memey or ironic. But it's like, yeah, a lot of these games have like this super dark edge to them, but at the same time it's counterbalanced by this like comedy or, you know, just sympathy that you don't really see. Like true edge is just something that is so depressing and bleak, and you don't really get that with these games. I mean, I would say the closest, the one that gets it to the closest is probably Nier and Danganronpa. Like they get really, really bleak, but at the center of that bleakness is just like this shining light, and it's always the protagonist. And because you're the one that tries to give these people like motivation or hope or whatever, like just some way of continuing despite everything going wrong, it just kind of gives you a little bit of hope for your own life. It's like, hey, things are getting really bad for these characters, but they're still hanging on. They're not giving up.
This is it. This will save your life someday, son.
You sure know how to exaggerate.
You imbecile. Engine boost is vital for bringing back soldiers alive from war.
Engine boost.
Of course. Engine boost is the basis of everything. Let me tell you a war story, son. I was leading my unit at the very front line. Things were bad, and sanitary conditions were worse. Endless guerrilla attacks were stripping us of our manpower. Everyone was tired to their limits. There was one sergeant who really rubbed me the wrong way. The boys like to call him Crybaby Timothy. He really gave me headaches, I can tell you.
How?
Just by breathing. His posture was bad. He was weak, slow, easily distracted. I have no idea who thought he was capable of combat in a war zone. He endangered the lives of every member of the unit. Stomach pains. The worst stomach ache ever. Every one of us. It was just cooking. He was using food that was contaminated. I flew into the dugout toilet like an Apache chopper returning to base. I have to tell you, it was a close call. My engine was boosting. And that's what got me there safely, right in the nick of time.
What happened to the unit?
You really want to know? It was a terrible sight. Powerful, athletic men reduced to walking dead. Blinking like crazy, shaking with pain. Their confidence and self-esteem were all crushed. They almost didn't recover.
An interesting story.
So you see the need for engine boost now, do you? I'll keep my side of the promise and get to work on your vehicle.
That badge on him is for a sergeant. Looks like it was sewn on something else before it was sewn onto his shirt. I wonder what that's all about.
I put in longer pistons and optimized your lower gears. That should add boost to your speed when you accelerate. But there's still plenty of stuff I can do to make your car go faster. Just come see me again and I'll customize your car a little more.
We're not going full on Death Note just yet, you know, where everything's just fucked. So, yeah, it's just like these little moments, where you just get to spend time with these characters. And I can't promise I'm gonna do all of the side missions for this game. I'll just do the ones that are either one, relevant to the plot, which a lot of them are, or two, the mission's just way too much fun that I kind of have to, I have to speak my mind on it, or at least, you know, talk around it, because I don't want to talk over the character dialogue. Or, you know, I just need footage just to talk more. Might just do that. But the game's not perfect. In fact, doing all of the side missions in the game is very much unviable on your first playthrough of the game. In fact, let me go ahead and tell you this right now. You want to play the game in one sitting, or not really one sitting, but in like one linear fashion. Like, for your first playthrough of Deadly Premonition, do not use the chapter select for anything. You just need to like play the game as it is and don't use chapter select. Any opportunity you get to do side missions, you absolutely take it. And the reason why I say that is because there's a save glitch for the Xbox 360 and PS3 version, and it might be on Steam as well. I'm not sure about the Switch version, but there's a glitch where if you use chapter select, certain items will disappear from your inventory. And if you do that, the game will be rendered unbeatable on certain chapters. You know, without getting too much to spoilers, towards the end game, you'll receive a key, and the key will be put in your inventory. And by that point, you just need to just beat the game. Like, just finish the game right then and there, because if you go to chapter select and you replay an earlier chapter, that key disappears from your inventory, and there's no way of getting it back.
Jack, here's the Ben Franklin you wanted.
Give it to me. Hey there, Benjamin. I wanted to talk to you. Have you heard this yet? I'll tell you another one when I see you again.
Zach, did you see that? It was as if we weren't here. I wonder what that was all about. Did it make sense to you?
You basically have a dead game, because without that key, you cannot finish the game. And that happens with other items as well, but it's not nearly as game-breaking. In one of the later side missions that I did, I got this special fishing rod to do like the little fishing side mission. And I finished the side mission, but I played it in a chapter replay. So when I went back to my current save, even though the game marks the side mission as completed, the fishing rod was gone. Even though that was the reward for completing the side mission, it's just gone. I mean, thankfully, the fishing rod doesn't really do anything. It's just kind of like sentimental value. Like, the only thing that really matters is just the kind of bait that you use, at least from what I remember. But it still sucks. It's like you won't have like a completed inventory because it just magically disappeared because of chapter select. So yeah, now if you really want to be cheeky, at certain points in the story, you have to go with Emily and George to like certain locations, and you have to ride in the same car together. You could just bail out of the car and just say, I'll meet up with you guys later. And you can just go on about your day and just do whatever side mission you want to do. And I'll just give you like ample time to do whatever, because there's no fail state to starting missions. Like they say, hey, let's meet up at this spot at like 12 o'clock. You don't actually need to be there at 12 o'clock. You can do it the next day, or the next day, or the next day, or the next day. It does rob you of one little thing, and that's why I say that even if you could do that, I don't recommend that you do, because you'll miss out on a lot of dialogue with Emily and George. And on your first playthrough, you kind of want to stick to the main plot as much as possible. And like I said, when the game gives you an opportunity to do side missions, by all means do it. Yeah, this does not need to be 35 minutes, dude. I mean, thankfully, I'm going to be splitting this apart, so I'll just adjust accordingly, but... Seeing how this is my first time doing commentary over gameplay, over a game, I don't think I want to overload you guys with too much info, so I would say this is like a good start to continue the conversation. And yeah, I would be interested in talking about like little movies. In the same way that York loves to talk about movies, me, I can talk about games and movies, so there's that. Anime too. Anime can join too. But yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good dent. But it's like 20 minutes. So yeah, I can definitely cut this out because I am not gonna be washing my car for like 5 minutes.
A few moments later.
Yeah, she's not even touching the car.
Zach, that was some aggressive car washing. She's crazy. Like a cat in heat.
You may have liked it, but I never want to go through that again.